beautiful people, once again, your girl Andulairah coming to you with some interesting information about a place not far from where I live called Wilpena Pound. I remember listening to the L.a.c.erta interview, and for those of you that don't know, L.a.c.erta is a reptilian being that gave an interview with a gentleman, I believe it is somewhere in the far north of Sweden. Anyway, it's like a 4-hour interview, and the information that she shared with him is obviously everywhere on YouTube and the internet. And if you want to listen to this interview given by a reptilian being, then I suggest you look for the L.a.c.erta Files and be prepared to hear some staggering information. But anyway, L.a.c.erta went on to talk about their reptilian bases all around planet Earth and the types of locations that the reptilian groups scattered throughout the Earth where they preferred to be. She talked about the reptilian bases being in extremely isolated, arid type areas, places where it was hot, where it was dry, and where they could get substantial amounts of sunlight without being bothered by pesky humans or curious humans that may accidentally see them. And L.a.c.erta went on to say that there were bases all over the world, and that some of their largest ones were in various locations, and one of those locations was here in Australia. Now, where I am located, it is extremely hot, it is extremely arid, and it is very isolated. So although a lot of tourists may come up in this area, predominantly it is very isolated. It is an isolated location, but in terms of seeing people, in the video to follow, you will see in my own footage visiting this place, there's scarcity of cars and people and how wild it is out here in these places. Sometimes you don't see another car for 2 hours, or sometimes you don't see any cars at all. So the place is very isolated. There is no phone reception for the most part, only in small towns or the towns that are here. So it is very isolated, and that alone could be enough to deter people from visiting this area. So as I took more interest in this over the years, I've come to learn that there has been a lot of unexplained anomalies seen at night around Wilpena Pound, and there have also been a lot of strange things happening around this area. The Aboriginal people, or the L.a.c.erta people in this area, go on to say that it is a very sacred place, and weird things have happened in this area, especially in the top region where it's very inaccessible. I mean, you can climb up there, but there's no way to drive up there, and the only way to get into the center of Wilpena Pound is by helicopter. That's if the Aboriginal people speak about it at all, because a lot of them don't really like to talk about it so much because of the strangeness of the area. So that doesn't come as a surprise to me, because Wilpena Pound is located around the point called Grid Point 44. And Grid Point 44 is basically where all these telluric lines, earth lines or ley lines that cover the earth in a grid-like network, this is the only place in Australia where they all cross over. This is the only point in the whole continent where they cross at Wilpena Pound in this area. So, of course, this alone is going to cause some kind of um, hindrance in the interdimensional congruency. Very similar to somewhere like the Bermuda Triangle. Local people have documented strange sightings, strange things happening, especially people that live out in homesteads or on farms, property stations, and also tourists. Tourists have gone missing for hours and hours or days, but I don't believe there's been any deaths. I don't believe the people haven't been found again. So strange things have happened here. By pure synchronicity, I end up having a casual conversation with a woman with regards to an extraterrestrial encounter she had around this area. She actually used to live not far from Wilpena Pound, and she'd been out there for years and years at this location, extremely isolated, away from everyone, everything. I mean, literally in the middle of nowhere. Anyway, she was sleeping one night and she said it was as if someone had come in and just turned floodlights on throughout the house. Very piercing, blinding blue lights throughout the house. And she thought it was morning, but then obviously she was awake and she saw this light coming in every single window. And of course, I mean, she freaked out, and so did her husband. The dogs, she said, were going ballistic. They were going nuts. And her husband, they knew something very strange was going on. And her husband got up. Her husband grabbed a shotgun and they went out to the veranda. And I remember her telling me, saying how frightened she was to look up into the sky, because this light absolutely engulfed the whole homestead. And her husband, she said, started shooting, but then she said the only thing she remembered next was waking up in her bed the next morning, and that was that. I mean, they didn't talk about it, they didn't do anything. Another friend of mine, actually, someone who has spent a lot of time out on cattle properties, said that they came home one night from the pub, which was in a little place not far from Wilpena Pound, and that they saw a strange light in the sky and doing strange things. So it's a disconcerting place, and there is a lot going on that we cannot explain. Some Aboriginal people have even reported, also again in casual conversation, because you would never get these people to talk officially or to someone that has a camera in their face, talking about how lights have been seen leaving the middle of Wilpena Pound at night, doing all strange maneuvers and erratic behavior. So then that again is confirmation for my intuition that there is something definitely strange going on. Every time I drive past Wilpena Pound, I feel that there is some kind of base, some kind of cavern system within the pound itself. The Flinders Ranges and Wilpena Pound itself is very old. The actual place is in the Ediacaran time period, and that is hundreds of millions of years old. So long before humans were on this planet, and I'm sure the reptilians were here long before we were. As L.a.c.erta claims, they are the native Terrans of planet Earth, something that I don't find surprising at all. So I was intrigued enough to take a drive and to visit this place and really let my intuition get a feel for this area. So the following footage is me taking a drive to Wilpena Pound, grid point 44. So kind of really windy where I am, and I'm taking a drive to this place called Wilpena Pound out here towards those hills. Doesn't look like much now, but when you get closer you'll see the pound itself. And I want to show you exactly where these sightings have been seen. Some from local people, others from like tourists. Lots of people have been going missing in this area. They're later found, but they go missing still. I think a lot is going on here at this place. Let's go up closer. It's going to take me about an hour to get to it from here. But that's the start of the range, the Flinders Ranges. So let's keep going. Just thought I'd show you a snake. This is called a king brown snake. One of the deadliest snakes in the world. Along my way, I almost ran over him, but I'm glad I didn't. I thought I got the end of his tail, but I didn't. Wait, thank God. Your girl needs some more gas. So this is the place, Wilpena Pound. Doesn't look like much from down here, but believe me, it is towering, it's huge, and there's something very sacred about this place. Instinctually, this feels like a base. It feels like it every time I drive past this place. It feels like something incredible. So, very strange things going on out here. Beauty, the real beauty of this place when the sun's on it and the sunset. People come here and paint along the side of the road. It's a very magical place. And I suspect that there is definitely some kind of extraterrestrial presence or some kind of reptilian presence right in this place here. It just feels like it. It just feels like it. A lot of other people around the area have seen sightings of lights and things coming from this area. So, to me, that kind of confirms everything that I've been feeling about this place. I actually climbed up on they call it St. Mary's Peak, way over there. And I remember the forests around the base of this place. You don't want to get stuck here at night. It's a place where I would not want to get stuck at night. Down in these forests, you can't really see them all that much. These forests, they're all the way down the base of the mountain. But I climbed up on that peak over there, St. Mary's Peak, and I thought, I'd get it done in like 6 hours. Oh my goodness. And I mean, it was so exhausting for me. It took me maybe 12 hours and I didn't have enough water, I didn't have enough food, and I came back down as it was night. And I remember going through the end of the forest around the base of the mountain, and so I was kind of a bit nervous.